Hello, fans of the USFL and general managers of the 20-team Premier Fantasy Football League. I have a special preview. A couple of games I just could not ignore. A couple of more games are important. I'll go over two of these games specifically. We're going to start out with the Federals and the Orlando Renegades. Paul Thompson, Michael Harris's Feds are projected to win by 2 points over the Orlando Renegades. This is an important game. Michael Rodriguez is on top for the first time in the South with a 3-1 record. This is almost a must-win for him because if he loses this game, he's going to be right back in the mix. He can spread himself out with a win. He's got Burrow, Metcalf, and Aaron Jones, so he's got a lot going there. Jones can really rack it up. Burrow has not had a big game yet, but he's looking good. Metcalf's got a great quarterback behind him, but they do play the Rams, so Orlando is behind the 8 ball here by 2 points. Stafford, Kamara, and Chris Carson, who's not 100% for the Feds. The Feds do have a couple of bench players. They may be able to slip in there if Chris Carson can't play. Close game, 26-24. Feds, if they win this game, will be right in the mix. I'll go over one quick time at the end of this with the divisional standings. Boats and the Bulls. Again, these two owners, James Hayes and Phil Wilfong, have been in the league since the inception. The Boats are favored by 2 points in this one. This is not the first time these guys have matched up. The Bulls have Brissett playing at quarterback against the lowest ranked pass defense team in the league. So Brissett may put up some star type points. He's got Big Ben on the bench, probably deservingly so. And then he's got his triple wide receiver set of Marvin Jones, Thielen, and Lockett. The Bulls can win this game, but the Boats are favored by 2 with Dak, who has scored close to 10 points many times in our league. I'll go over that real briefly here in a minute, what 10 points means in our league. And then he's got Eckler, who seems to perform even though he's up against a strong run defense this week. Eckler still seems to perform. And then Jonathan Taylor, who broke out last week. So the Boats looking good in this game. Bulls are still, Phil Wilfong is going to play and think it out to the end and line them up the way they should be lined up. This is a great game. Phil's got on the bench. The Bulls have Van Jefferson and Sammy Watkins even on the bench in case anything happens at the last minute. And Elijah Mitchell is on the Boats bench and may be moved into the lineup possibly somewhere before kickoff. Boats, if they win that game, the Boats will be right up there at the top. Bulls will be hurting at that point with a losing record. Other games, just not notable games before I get to the game of the week, is the Gold and the Breakers. Breakers started out quick, Portland did. Gold is 0-4. Let's see if the Gold can get on the winning ways. Breakers really need to win this to stay competitive. Panthers and the Blitz. Blitz are not going to compete much in this game unless the Panthers drop the ball. Dalvin Cook, is he 100%? Panthers are favored by 3, 27-24. Maulers and the Spirit, this game is absolutely even. Spirit have 0 wins. Big trade on the table for the Spirit right now that may affect the game going forward. But we'll see what happens between the Maulers and Spirit. And then the Generals are favored by 6 over the Stars. The Generals are just looking so strong, Stacy DeChico's team. Bandits and the Stallions in a close one for the South, and then the Wranglers and the Gamblers in another close game. Wranglers are favored by 2. Now let's get to the two games of the week, the key games. We're going to start out with the Express and the Invaders. I'm going to try to line this up where you can see this on the board here. And you know, in our league, it's not like these penny ante leagues where you have a bunch of great players and then you have a bunch of great bench players. This is a 20-team league, guys. It's a much different. It's more realistic too. In the NFL, you can't have 12 stars. 3-star running backs like you can in these little penny ante 10-team leagues. No, this is more realistic of what a team would look like. And looking at this between the Express and the Invaders, last year the Invaders edged out the Express to go to the Bassett Bowl. This is kind of a grudge match game, divisional match. They play each other twice each year. Randy Minor and the Express here. Express are favored, as you can see down at the bottom, by 2 points. Very important game here, one to watch going forward. And then in the other game, the game of the week, is the Outlaws and the Gamblers, both 4-0. Neither team has made it to the Bassett Bowl. That's not because they're not great fantasy football players, but there is the lineup there for that key important game. I will say the Outlaws are hampered a bit by Montgomery being out. That definitely affects them. They tried to pick up Montgomery's back up on the waiver wire and failed to do so because another team was in line front. He was a very, very popular, Damon Williams was a very popular waiver wire suspect this past week. But there it is, Gunslingers and the Outlaws. Gunslingers favored back 2. If Tyreek Hill lights it up again, it's going to be hard to beat the Gunslingers. But exciting game of the week. And then finally, the ramifications of these games, the key games, is you look in the Central Division there. If the Gunslingers, whoever wins that game, is going to go to 5-0 and spread themselves. The Panthers should win and go to 3-2. But that'll be a 2-game difference, the team that wins between the Gunslingers and the Outlaws, so you can see how important that is. Then the other game that we talked about in the Pacific there, as you can see, if the Express can somehow pull this off and beat the Invaders, if Portland were to get upset, this division becomes much tighter, much closer. So let's look forward to the week, guys. The announcement that I wanted to make was simply that Oklahoma owner is subject to possibly leave the league. That opens up his team possibly to bids, and Randy Minor has made a bid for the Oklahoma Outlaws if Kyle does not return or Keith Clark does not decide to run that team. Interesting news here. We'll await Kyle's decision going forward, and that decision does not have to be made anytime soon. But Randy has spoke up and said that he wants to be Invaders owner, wants to own that team and maybe give it to someone he wants to give it to, or possibly run it himself. It is legal to run 2 teams in our league. I don't like to do that, but it is legal. I'm going to make a limit on that, a one-year limit. You can do it for 1 year. So, all right, guys, that is it. Have a great week. Enjoy week 5.